Well, Paul Davies, you're General Manager Marketing, Guest and Commercial Operations. That's quite a title at Taronga Zoo, okay? So, Taronga Zoo, I mean, I think that anybody who's ever visited Sydney, yes, they go to the Opera House, yes, they have a look at the Harbour Bridge and all that sort of stuff, but I think the other place they all go to is Taronga Zoo. Yeah. City Centre Zoo, fairly unusual because it's got amazing views and so on. But tell me a bit about what's hot and what's new and what's current at Taronga.
What's new at Taronga? Well, we've always got new births and new arrivals, given we've got a big breeding program in lots of species, so there's always something new on the ground from an animal perspective. From a visitor point of view, we've recently launched a new tour called Nurudia, which is an Aboriginal led guide to I guess the Australian wildlife. Yeah. And it's a great way of people getting to know a little bit more about the history between the Aboriginal people and their love of the land and their caring of wildlife, and there's sort of the Dreamtime stories about kangaroos and koalas, and so it's a really nice way to get a different insight into the amazing wildlife of Australia.
Because they're strongly connected with animals, weren't they? Because they held certain animals in sort of very high sort of positions in a sense, didn't they? Spiritually.
Well, they have what they call totems as well. So and it's what's interesting is that between different areas and different tribes, they have different totems. So one totem, for example, a wombat might be a very sacred animal to one particular area, and you cross over to another area and it's considered one that you want to eat for lunch, and so it really does vary from sort of locale to locale, and so those stories are pretty amazing. How why a koala is the way it is and lives up a tree. There's some wonderful stories from different areas about how they were little, a girl who took water away, and explains a lot of the I guess the details about koalas in terms of their scientific features, but in a way that actually has some very magical stories behind it. So we found that the guests that we've had on those tours come away, really enlightened and get a newfound appreciation, I think, for not just the Australian animals, but a little bit of the stories behind them. So that's something that's new at the zoo and really exciting.
You've also done quite a lot of redevelopment work over the years recently, haven't you? Tell me about what's been going on there.
Yeah, no, we've really almost rebuilt the zoo over the last 12 years. The last piece of that jigsaw has been a complete redesign of our main entrance area. We've got a heritage building that's been restored to its beautiful 95-year-old history has been restored, and a wonderful new open plaza that basically people can come and go from without sort of entering the zoo officially. And nice. A nice little cafe there. They can overlook some of our wet water birds and tree kangaroos, and it's a really nice way to set themselves up for a pleasant day at the zoo. And as you say, that great setting and location, it's just a great way to get in touch with Australia's animals and wildlife in probably, we believe, the best located zoo in the world for that.
Without any question. I mean, just behind you there, you've got a photograph of a giraffe there, and with the Harbour Bridge in the background. I mean, that must be the envy of many zoos around the world to be in such an amazing position.
Well, I certainly get my equivalents from many zoos come down under and want to come around and have a look, and they do have a slight sense of jealousy about the stories when we take them around, and it's certainly something that enables us to really, I guess, showcase the wonderful nature of Australia with a great setting.
Now, does Taronga Zoo get packaged in with wholesalers into package deals, or is it generally sort of an admission you pay when you get there, or?
Yeah, no, we've worked very closely with a lot of wholesalers from both the East and the Western Hemisphere markets. We find that the tour products that we've had, these sort of behind-the-scenes exclusive tours with our keepers or our new tour products, are the kind of things that really sell well into wholesaler programs. But a number of people take what we've got a very simple package, which is with, for example, Captain Cook. Come over on the ferry and come into the zoo at your own leisure, and that's a very simple product that people like to sell as well, and then that gives people their own time. But we find being able to get up close and in a small group of 5 to 6 people, our keepers take people behind the scenes, show them where the food's prepared. They get to see things that they wouldn't normally, and that's a really appealing way to get up close.
What's your favourite bit of Taronga Zoo?
Well,
except all of it.
All of it, yeah. I always have to be very careful on the record, because they say you don't want to be making enemies and friends amongst keepers, because one man's favourite is another man's enemy. But,
absolutely.
But I guess as a POM living in Australia, I have to say my favourites are always the Australian animals, and probably the Tasmanian devil, which I think has got just an amazing character and personality, as well as some pretty heavy jaws. Apparently those jaws are the strongest pound for pound on any animal on the planet. So when you see them ripping into some of those carcasses that we put in there every day, it's quite a sight to behold. So yeah, they're a good character.
So tell me, general admissions, all that sort of stuff, so people can buy tickets, or you can buy membership as well, apparently, can't you? Because it's Conservation Society of Australia, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I guess that's what makes us perhaps a little bit unique in terms of, while we are obviously very popular from a tourist perspective, but ultimately we're a conservation organisation, and the funds that international visitors provide enable us to get involved in great international and domestic conservation programs. We're trying to help generate an insurance program for the Tasmanian devil, which is critically endangered with a facial tumour. So whether it's through memberships or just visiting, people are contributing to the conservation work at the zoo, and I think that adds a credibility as a not-for-profit organisation to the work that we do.
Absolutely. So how much is it to go into Taronga as a regular tourist now?
$44 for an adult, and that gets you obviously all-day access for as long as you want. We've got about 20 free keeper shows and talks. I think one of the highlights is the bird show, which people rave about. It's got a backdrop of the Opera House and the bridge, and
stunning, isn't it?
A free-fly bird show with birds of prey, condors, cockatoos, and even a few rodents that make an appearance. So that's always a highlight. And you've got access to, I guess, the whole zoo all day. The Sky Safari, which is probably one of the best views as well. So we've got a cable car that runs from the top to the bottom, and gives you, I think, unparalleled views looking back towards the Opera House and the bridge.
And that goes right down to the wharf, doesn't it?
It does. So the ferry connects with that.
And that's without question the best way to get there, isn't it, on the ferry?
12 minutes from Circular Quay. Nice, easy journey over and back, and a great day out for the family and for anyone who's really got and wants to know a little bit more about Australia's wildlife, and also obviously exotic animals from around the world as well.
And where can people get information on Taronga Zoo? What's the best location?
Place is always our website, taronga.org.au, and we've got all our details there, opening times and prices and everything else that they want to know, and also details around those tours are all listed there.
Excellent. So
the other thing is, someone staying a bit longer is our overnight product.
Oh, that's right.
Roar and Snore. It's incredibly popular, so you have to book well in advance, but you get to actually sleep out at the zoo with the animals, walk around, get woken up by the lions roaring. And
not in the lion's cage, of course.
No, there's a few people that are noisy when they snort. We've been told that sound a bit like the lions, but and we've been pretty good. We haven't lost anybody as an overnight stay, so they always have a good time. So that's something to look out for if you're staying a bit longer and want something particularly unique for the kids to stay overnight at the zoo is a great
absolutely
experience.
Awesome.
And again, probably the best views of any place you can stay in Sydney overnight. So
now the URL www.taronga.org.au. Paul, thank you for your time this afternoon. I hope AT is successful for you and that brings loads and loads more visitors to Taronga Zoo.
I hope so. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.